to share with you guys just an update, because I have been tackling my approach anxiety now for just over 2 weeks. I'm sorry if the camera's really shaky and the sound quality's really shit. I'm just driving on my way home. I've got a 4-hour drive ahead of me, and it occurred to me that it would be good to do a check-in, because it's been just over 2 weeks since I started with this actual commitment to conquer my fucking approach anxiety. And if you've never seen me before, then for context, I am someone who has had such crippling approach anxiety for really my whole life. And I have been pretty much addicted to dating apps for years. All of the relationships, not all of the relationships, but a lot of the relationships that I've had have come through dating apps. And to be honest, they weren't actually the healthiest relationships. And I think the reason that they weren't the healthiest relationships is because the only way that I really knew how to actually get any kind of intimacy was through dating apps, because I've had approach anxiety. And so because dating apps are such a sparse, like the actual intimacy and connection that you get from a dating app is so sparse, then I ended up in relationships with women who I wasn't really that attracted to. You know, they were really nice and really lovely, but, you know, there wasn't like the strongest chemistry. I wasn't that devoted, so they weren't the healthiest relationships. And all of that comes down to the fact that I've had approach anxiety when it comes to actually approaching girls that I'm actually attracted to when I see them out in public, out in the wild. And so, yeah, about just over 2 weeks ago, I decided to actually start tackling my approach anxiety head on, because I realized I'm 33 now. I'm not getting any fucking younger, you know, and I do regret the years, you know, that I spent succumbing to approach anxiety and making excuses about why I couldn't approach, why it wasn't appropriate, you know, why it's creepy. Fucking pick an objection, you know, to actually approaching in any given situation, any given real world moment. I had them all, man. But, you know, so yeah, I've used every excuse in the book for so long. But it hit me recently. It's like, I fucking hate dating apps. Like, it's just not fucking working. You know, and I went down the rabbit hole with them, you know, like how to create the best profile and how to, you know, craft the best openers, but with, you know, while still being authentic. And then, as a little side note, I approached a girl a few days ago. I just tapped her on the shoulder in a cafe, you know, and started talking to her, told her she was pretty, got her number, took her out on a date a couple of nights later, and she was pretty hot. And so on the date, because I was super relaxed around her, which is what happens when you start actually approaching girls, by the way. That's one thing I've really realized over the last 2 weeks, is that your anxiety around women will disappear once you're actually talking to them. But anyway, on the date, I asked her, because we were talking about dating apps, and I said, can I just see one of your dating apps? Because she was pretty hot, and I said to her, I was like, I've heard stories, but I've never seen, you know, a dating profile of a girl that's pretty hot, and I've heard stories, but I've never seen it. And so she was like, sure. And so she cranked out her Hinge and showed me, and I was like, what the fuck? Hundreds of men lining up, and it made me realize you can be a fucking 10 out of 10 Chad, and you can have the most epic banter and epic chat on a dating app, and it doesn't mean shit, because there's hundreds of other men that basically look exactly the same at a glance on a dating app. There's so many guys all trying to stand out, and so none of you actually do stand out because you're all the same. I was the same. You know, I spent ages, you know, like coming up with all these really, you know, kind of sophisticated masculine archetype stuff, you know, to use when I'm texting girls on dating apps to actually try to get them engaged, you know, to like emotionally engage them. Oh my God. And to be honest, looking at that now, even after 2.5 weeks or so of actually approaching girls when I see them regularly every day, I realize that was kind of pathetic. Sorry. But I'm not here to scorn anybody or to judge anybody, because I've lived my whole adult life with crippling approach anxiety. So I know exactly what it's like. So I'm not coming at you from some high horse position. But I wanted to film this little video while I'm on my drive home to share not just what I've learned, because I share what I've learned in all of the other videos that I'm constantly uploading at the moment, but more so that how it's changing me as a person. You know, like I've always been a reasonably confident guy. I mean, I work in sales, so I have to be, and because I'm constantly dealing with people, you know, I'm pretty good at actually building rapport once I'm interacting with people. But when it comes to actually approaching girls that I'm attracted to and you know, personally, like, and revealing attraction for them personally, well, that requires a degree of vulnerability that I'm not required in my sales job. I don't have to have that vulnerability. I'm literally just a brand ambassador for a charity, raising funds for a charity. All I need to be able to do is stop people and build rapport with them, which I'm good at, but that's not really you don't need any personal vulnerability in that. And over the last 2.5 weeks, I have gotten way out of my comfort zone and just started approaching and or complimenting attractive girls when I saw them. And there were many situations where I still buckled to the fear, but there were many situations that I didn't. So I've approached and or complimented directly over 50 girls now, over 50 women in the last 2.5 weeks. And it's changing me so much as a person. I'm so much more socially confident just in my environment. It's like before, because it's interesting now from this perspective, my whole worldview has kind of changed. And from where I am now, I'm looking back at the person that I was literally only 3 weeks ago, from pretty much my whole life before that. And, you know, when you see somebody you don't know, they're kind of a stranger, right? And one of the biggest things that's changed for me is that I don't really view people as strangers anymore. Because when you start actually approaching girls that you're attracted to, you realize that they're just human beings, just like you, just like everybody else. And so it's changed my whole worldview. It's like we're not actually living in a world of 8 billion strangers. We're actually living in a world of 8 billion people just like us. It's almost like my tolerance or my empathy for other people, my understanding, my maturity has increased enormously over the last 2.5 weeks since actually approaching girls that I'm attracted to. And this is why I wanted to film this video, is because when you start cold approaching and you actually just start doing it, it pays dividends, not just in your romantic life. You know, not just in the number of dates you get or the number of phone numbers that you get, you know, or the quantity of, you know, new romantic interests or dates or whatever that you can get. All of that stuff is completely true as well. You know, all of that stuff is absolutely true. Like I feel so much more abundant now within myself in kind of like the part of me that does dating and romance and intimacy. There's no scarcity anymore, because I know that when I see an attractive girl, I can just go up to her and just start talking to her. And the thing is, there's attractive women fucking everywhere. If you're one of these guys that says, oh, there's no hot girls in my town or whatever, I'm just going to say it directly, you are lying to yourself. There's cute women everywhere. Everywhere. You're lying to, if you say that, then you're lying to yourself to stay in your comfort zone by pretending that there's not actually that many attractive girls around you. It's complete bullshit. They're everywhere. And so not only is my dating and my romantic life improving and is so much more abundant than it was 3 weeks ago, but like, I feel more abundant as a person. It's kind of hard to explain. Just like my whole world feels lighter and more easeful and more confident. Nothing really feels as difficult or overwhelming as it did literally 3 weeks ago. And this is why I wanted to film this little update for you, is because if you can, if you're a guy and you can face your fear, I'm not so much talking to women here because I don't really know like what your experience would be approaching a man. But if you're a man and you have approach anxiety, I understand. Like, there's nothing scarier than risking rejection, risking social humiliation, risking being labeled as a creep, risking, whatever it is that you're afraid of will happen. I mean, it's the fear of extinction. It's like, that's real. And so I'm not here to judge you or to criticize you. I'm here to empathize with you. But I wanted to share a message kind of from somebody who's just like taken the leap of faith, the plunge. And it's like when you go bungee jumping. Not that I've actually ever done bungee jumping or skydiving. I haven't done either of those things. But it's like when you do that, you're scared that you're going to die and your whole body is like going to die, and then you don't die and you realize it's actually really fun. You want to do it again. It's exactly what happens when you cold approach a cute girl. And so when you face fear, when you face fear as a man, as a woman, as whatever, you are always going to grow as a person. And I think that's probably like the core message that I have here, is that, like, if you're afraid of approaching women, that one signal should be your key to do it. Because, like, let's face it, you're not going to die, right? You're not going to die. And so if you're just a normal person, which you probably are, because most of us are, then what's the worst that can happen? You make a dick of yourself, and then you learn. You'll have an experience that will pay dividends. And unfortunately, you can't learn those lessons without actually doing it. You can't simulate or meditate, in your mind, or visualize what's going to happen, because that's not what it's about. It's about actually living in reality as opposed to fantasy. And so, yeah, I guess just to wrap this up, in like only 2.5 weeks, I can't tell you how much I am thriving more as a man in all respects of my life, because I've faced like one of my deepest fears. The fear of rejection, the fear of social humiliation, the fear of being labeled as a creep. And it doesn't happen. And even if it does, then, well, if you actually do get labeled as a creep, well, the person that is accusing you of that, it's kind of more about them Because if you approach a woman in a human way, and you are vulnerable by saying that you're nervous, you've never done this before, whatever, that you feel weird about doing it, I don't know. Well, if she or somebody around you labels you as a creep, that's not on you, my friend. That is not on you. I promise you. So I'm thriving so much more in my life. It's having an effect on every area of my life because my confidence is so much higher socially, and we're social animals. So like I'm making more money in my job and sales because I don't know, I'm just like happier and more excited about life. So my attitude's better, so I'm making more money. I started this YouTube channel. It's like for me, cold approaching girls that I'm actually attracted to has been one of my biggest demons, if not my biggest fear in life. And so tackling that and experiencing the growth, the crazy growth in just 2 weeks that I have, it's like, oh my God, I have been wasting my life. I'm 33 and it's like, okay, fuck it, whatever, like there's no point regretting the past. It's having such an incredible effect on my confidence, on my sense of self-worth, on my self-esteem. And that's not like, I'm not talking about my self-worth or self-esteem being based on the reactions of the girls that I'm approaching. It's really interesting. When you start approaching girls, you'll find that it's like you can be halfway through your opening sentence to her and your approach anxiety will have diminished, most likely. That's what happens for me most of the time, because you're actually talking to another human being. And the reason that's so important for your self-worth and self-esteem is because you're being true to yourself by actually acting on your authentic feelings of attraction for another person. And so if you're being true to yourself, you're honoring your own values. And so of course you're going to feel better about yourself regardless of what her reaction is. So the fact that women almost always respond positively to genuine compliments, right, from strangers, is just a bonus. It's honestly just a bonus. I did not expect this to happen when I started cold approaching. I started tackling my approach anxiety with this commitment to actually get over it and do it. What I was expecting was like better results externally, more dates, more numbers, more sex, more intimacy, more connection, and that is absolutely 100% happening. But what I wasn't expecting is that those things would come as a byproduct of actually being more confident as a man by just honoring my own standards and my own self-worth, my own values, just by approaching women that I'm attracted to when I'm scared or nervous. So I hope this video has been like valuable to you. I'm just kind of free-flowing here. This whole channel, if you read the description of the channel, it's literally just me documenting my journey of tackling my approach anxiety. So like, I'm not perfect, I haven't arrived anywhere yet, but the fact that I've experienced the level of growth that I have within myself, regardless of the results that I'm getting with women, the fact that I've experienced the growth that I have in just 2 fucking weeks, I honestly, I can't not share it with people. That's why I started this channel, is because after a few days of doing it, and I started actually experiencing growth as a person, I was like, I have to start a YouTube channel. This is the time, I'm just gonna start doing it and documenting my journey. And 2 weeks, man, it's been such a short amount of time. And like, I've leveled up so fucking much. So please, if you're a dude and you got approach anxiety, fuck it right off. Just start doing it. it's going to be awkward and scary, and you're going to feel like a fucking imposter and a fraud. You know, you're like my mate who's been watching my journey, and it's like my growth has been sort of rubbing off on him a little bit, and he started doing it too. And he approached a girl that he had a crush on the other day, and he told me when he got back that his mouth was shaking when he was talking to her, right? And that's totally what happens. And I had a situation in the first few days, a couple of weeks ago, when I approached a girl, and when I went to hold out my hand to introduce myself, my hand was shaking. But do you think that she cared? I cared way more than she did. I was petrified afterwards that she probably thought I was weak and insecure, when it's probably more likely that she saw that as cute and endearing and courageous, because I was scared of her. You know, her beauty impacted me so much that I actually got way out of my comfort zone to go and pay her a direct, genuine compliment and then introduce myself despite being shit scared. I'm telling you now, like, if a girl labels you as creepy for you doing that, that is not the type of girl you want to date anyway, my friend. Okay? I promise you, if you start doing this, your whole life is going to change so much. Honestly, I can't tell you. It's 2 weeks. It's crazy, the level of growth that I am experiencing right now. And I've never had so much fun in my life. Really. Every day is like a playground walking around. You know, and I'm getting, like, my confidence is getting to the point where I'm, like, it's so abundant that I literally don't have any attachment to any outcome when I approach a girl. I just go up to her and say, hey, this is really random, but I just saw you, and I don't know, I'm trying to tackle my approach anxiety in my life at the moment, and you're really pretty, so here I am. Something like that, you know. I don't think I've ever, in the last 2 weeks, I'm struggling to think of one encounter where she hasn't blushed like an apple and felt flattered. So yeah, get out there and start doing it, man. It's so much fun, and you will grow. It just pays dividends, I'm telling you. So I'm going to stop ranting now. Thank you so much for paying attention if you made it this far. Yeah, subscribe to my channel. I'm having way too much fun with this. If you have any questions or any comments, you know, or like if you want me to like coach you or, you know, mentor you with the stuff, just like drop me a comment. I might start doing coaching or mentoring because it's really fun, you know what I mean? And I'd love to help you because like I've lived with approach anxiety for years, so I know, like, I've been down at the very bottom place with it. Crippling paralysis to the point of self-hatred through repeated failed approaches, you know, where I chicken out and then I feel shame and regret that festers into self-hatred if you do it for too long. So if that resonates with you, like if you are so emasculated, I don't mean that in a judging or a critical way. Yeah, I should take that back. I mean, it is emasculating though, actually. You know, if you don't approach repeatedly, it can feel emasculating. So if you feel emasculated, it's probably a better way to put it. If you feel like you're emasculating yourself, but you don't really know what to do about it, drop me a comment. Let's connect. I'd love to help you through it. It's way too much fun. All right, let's go.